So that is understandable. A couple missing things here and there in the freezer section. Over at Sam's Club, I did notice a couple things. They had one rotisserie chicken. This is becoming more and more common out there. I did not need the rotisserie chicken, and it looked a little sad, so I think that's why people didn't really want it. But they didn't have any in the cookers going. It's just they were out of rotisseries, and tough luck if you wanted a rotisserie chicken. Cisco said that there was a green bean shortage. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to impact the canned green beans too much, but it is making me a little more sensitive to keep an eye on what's going on with the canned green beans as well. So they do have those in stock. Okay, over at Walmart, one of the things I was noticing was the pizza was pretty well stocked, except for the really cheap budget side of things. So the Totino's pizzas and some of the GV pizzas on the lower end of the spectrum seem to be hard hit, and they do not seem to have great stock of the lower budget type pizzas. We had some issues with French fries last week, but this week, not seeing that problem again. They seem to be pretty well stocked with seasoned fries, hash browns, all the different kinds of frozen potatoes. They seem to actually be pretty well stocked up here. We're keeping an eye on that because we have the planting issues with potatoes. We've also had some bad harvests the last couple of years of potatoes, so we're keeping an eye on that. Budget items for like budget TV dinners, like banquet, did seem to be kind of low. There were a bunch of spots where they were missing. Once again, I think people are just pivoting towards the budget options, and I think that the brands are just not ready for that. Coffee. That's not how the coffee section should look. Maxwell House, not having enough to really fully stock the shelves, but there is enough for you to grab you some Maxwell House. So if you come here in the off hours or something like that, and you suddenly see that there's no Maxwell House, they are putting it out on the shelf. It's just a matter of you getting there at the right time, it looks like. So if you drink Maxwell House, particularly, Folgers looked a little bit better stocked, but if you're not able to find the stuff that you want, you just need to come back at a better hour or try a different day. That's where we're looking at right now. There isn't real major issues with long-term supply chain issues. It's just these short-term supply chain issues. All right, green beans, there's only like one can of green beans there. This is in the prepper section. And when it comes to the canned fruits, we're seeing there's a lot of fronting going on there. You'll notice that a bunch of these...
Shalom. I want to start by saying all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Chapadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders, great millstone, and salutations to Akim pushing this word. And also saying honesty and the whole full elect constantly enduring to the 1/3, Shalom, the whole full elect. Now, what you're looking at is food shortages in different stores that, they sell bulk. All right. Now, this is mainly in Pittsburgh, but as you know, this affects the whole USA. This is from the channel, the Popular Report. All right, and I'll put that in the description also. But as you saw, it's different shortages and different things that you at one point may have been easily accessed, but now things are becoming more dear, more precious, and by so becoming more expensive. All right, putting more strain on the dollar. And basically what's going to happen is going to be, which things are going to get worse, and basically it's going to lead to a famine. Okay. The majority of these things is basically man-made famines, right? Because the famine comes from the crisis going back 2020, which we all know what happened then, and that put a strain on supply that led to a shortage, right? Because it was a lockdown. And also these different, even now you have the certain, the situation with the chickens and the cows, right? So they want to take away certain foods that's related to chickens and cows, right? And also they have different farms being destroyed and whatnot. And basically these things are leading to food shortages, which is gonna pick up, it's gonna get worse because why? We're at war, or I should say these countries are at war. Okay? And that's gonna lead to a famine, you know. And even recently you had those bridges being destroyed, which was very suspicious. Okay, some people say it was an inside job. It was goes back to the government. But anyways, I'm getting to these scriptures, and Lord wants to make for edifying lesson.
This is 2nd Ezra 15, and I'll start at 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And when it says woe to the world, because that's part of the calamity coming to this place. Okay, destruction. And to the people in the world. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Yeah, your sword and your destruction draweth nigh. Going into these heathen nations, going into Esau, the so-called white man, going into 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says, and one people shall stand up to and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Right? And why is that? Okay? Why is that? Because there's going to be a lack of supplies, a lack of resources, and it's going to become every man for themselves, or a dog-eat-dog scenario. Okay? Which when you deal with America, it's already a dog-eat-dog scenario. Okay? That's just the way they made things to be. Either you stepping on somebody's neck, or someone is stepping on your neck. And that's mainly in this world, mainly financially. All right, dealing with the higher class and the lower class. And there really is no more middle class, but it's always someone trying to get a step up on you. Okay, so even more so in the times to come, when people can't feed their families, their newborns, their wives, their sons. Okay, it says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's going into race wars. Okay, because race wars is definitely coming to this place, and we see that more and more when we're dealing with Trump, Biden. Okay, we see it because racism is something they try to do away with, but it's impossible. Okay, we see the whole so-called Black Lives Matters movement. A lot of these things are put in place to push that racism. So racism was never really done away with, although you have some Israelites, or I should say some so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that believe in racism is done away with. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Let's look up this word sedition. Sedition is overt conduct, such as speech or organization that tends toward rebellion against the established order. Sedition often includes subversion or constitution. Okay, but we get the point though, We get the point. It says tends toward rebellion against the established order. All right? Because why? These nations are going to rebel against their leadership. Okay? Because, well, I'm like, the people are going to rebel against their leadership, which is your governor, your mayor, your president, okay? Your sheriff or your deputy. People are going to rebel. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. Because why? Because they're not doing anything for their benefit, right? Once the dollar plummets, once there's race riots, once there's martial law, everything is basically going to set grounds for martial law. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they should not regard their kings. Yeah, people are going to take what they need. And if you have what they need, then they're going to take it. If you have groceries, you have fresh milk, eggs, okay. If you have tools, such as agriculture tools, construction tools, people are going to come and try to take whatever they can to make things a little more easier for themselves. And it says, what? Invade one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So people are going to rebel. They're going to be different sects. That's going to be, that's going to, have different leaders and groups of people that's going to rebel in their own way. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to, going into what? Martial law. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able to. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And that destruction is coming. Okay? And mainly upon you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because you didn't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Your pride, man, because you've been following Esau, the so-called white man, these heathen nations, and these different idols. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Which that sword, the modern day sword, is the gun. All right, which different parts. The guns are legal, but then you have parts where the guns aren't legal. All right, and that's not really a big issue, because besides the gun, a gun is a modern day sword. Why? Because it's a killing instrument. Okay, you can use a gun, you can use a bat, you can use a knife. All right, a piece of stick, a 4x4. Those are all considered a sword. So you won't have people breaking into your house with a pickaxe. Okay, threatening your life with a pickaxe, threatening your life with a shovel, threatening your life with a broom, and whatnot. Let's continue. It says, man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulations. See, the lack of bread and great tribulations. This is what's come to this place. All right, and when you read about the history of famines, you had certain people boiling their babies, cooking their babies for food. Okay, because the tribulations is gonna be great. And even the times we coming into, this is gonna be a great tribulation, and this is something that we always been speaking about, that we always been prophesying through the spirit of Yahweh, prophesying about through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It says, behold, save the Most High, I will call together the kings of the earth to revenge to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. That they have done to who? The nation of Israel. Okay? So these nations are going to fight themselves, which is going into war. Going into a world's war. Jeremiah 14:15. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, or Yahweh, concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, and I sent them not. Yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land. By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. So you're going to have these false prophets that's going to be consumed by the sword and by the famine. All right? Because you have prophets even amongst Israel, call themselves Israelites, and they preach peace. Okay? They preach longevity, prosperity. Okay? Not this land. This place is going to be destroyed by way of nuclear fire. All right? But pestilences is coming to this place. War is coming to this place. Famines is coming to this place. And all sorts of plagues and tribulations is coming to this place. Okay? So it says, and I sent them not, yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land. Those same prophets, it says, those same false prophets, by sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. And the people to whom they prophesy shall cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine. It says, and the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them, their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters, for I will pour their wickedness upon them. So you wicked ass false prophets, man. Okay? And then you have these people, these following them and believing in them. Okay? This is not a publicity contest. All right? It's not about a popular. It's not a popularity contest. Okay? The Lord is only dealing with a small number. Sincere, true, okay? A pure heart, pure-minded. Jeremiah. Okay, but it says Jeremiah 14:16. It says, and the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters, for I will pour their wickedness upon them. So the Lord's going to bring that judgment. Pour your wickedness upon you, reap what you sow. The Lord's going to bring that judgment upon 2/3 of Israel, the ones that don't want to get right, the ones that believe in false prophets, the ones that only want to hear smooth things. You're going to be destroyed in these last days. And when these famines come and these pestilence come and tribulation, it's going to take you by surprise and catch you off guard. But lowest edifying lesson, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Hakwadash, double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders, great millstones, and salutations that I can push this word, sincerity and honesty. Shalom.